Hey guys, it's CALLLOUS here to bring you CALLLOUS Invitational 7 play-ins action live. It is Voyager and Sprinkles. I thought that I was possibly going to be joined by Jabba for this one, but unavailable at the moment. Gonna be doing it by myself. What bracket are we in? Let me go ahead and check that out. We are in the Aqua bracket, and predictions are pretty torn on this one. I'm looking at it on my phone as we speak. 28 votes for Voyager, 31 for Sprinkles. That's pretty even. Looking forward to it. We are playing on main rather than Smog Tours, which is regrettable, but Sprinkles, being the banned user that he is, not welcome on Tesmogon, is going to have to play here to avoid potential issues. And we've got ourselves standard leads in Mence on meta with Voyager on the bottom, advanced clicks, that is Sprinkles on the top. It becomes meta on meta, looking like perhaps a physical offense or a mixed offense for Sprinkles. And, I mean, a lead meta that clicks mash from Voyager tells me basically nothing. So we wait. The timer was on from the very moment the battle started, as it should be, so when there is a pause, we aren't just sitting doing nothing. The timer is at least ticking down. And we have a Magneton, which is, that makes a lot of sense with Salamence and Metagross. So like I said, could be a physical or mixed offense. The Magneton makes me think that it might be closer to the physical side, but it's still too early to know. Metagross and Suicune are also both Pokemon that really appreciate Magneton support, removing Scarm. So there very well may be Mag teams, or hell, in the funkiest scenario, could even be Mag Doll teams for both players. But I'm thinking very, very likely Voyager will also have a Magneton. And it does make sense. Sprinkles does bring a fair amount of Skarmory stuff. His signature team, if you can call it that. Kind of weird to call it that because it's not even really his team. But the team that he spams all the time with the Skarm and the Arrow and the Zard or whatever, obviously would not appreciate Magneton. It's not a YOLO Skarm. There's no Doug in the back. If you bring that team into a Mag, you just get your Skarm eaten, and that kind of is what it is. This actually, for Voyager, might be something along the lines of Double Blob, which has kind of had a little bit of a resurgence recently. I personally don't like that team at all and don't think it's good. It's certainly something that I'm not going to be building for Jabba when the main event rolls around, but it is possible that we're looking at something to the effect of Magneton, Snorlax, Doll, for example, in the back for Voyager, which, like I said, I hate, but that kind of squad has made a bit of a comeback recently. I'm not exactly sure who started that and popularized it. I didn't follow SPL or Seasonal particularly closely at all, so maybe it got used in some big tour. But like I said, not into it, don't think it's good, but it is kind of a flavor of the month thing that's been going around. So switches for both players, and Sprinkles obviously gets the better end of it, but no justice in this world. He makes the right call, but does not get rewarded for it. Not sure why we're so laggy right now. I may have to refresh here. It's really chomping along. You can see here that my computer is 9 years old at this point. Gonna need an upgrade at some point when I, win the lottery or get really rich from Pokemon narrating. Yeah. But yeah, he makes the right play. Sprinkles predicts the Magneton, the Skarmory rather, picks it off with Mag. That was definitely well timed. He did not get the roll, assuming that the Magneton is in fact holding a magnet, which it probably is. So he has a good chance to get the one-hit KO there, but the damage roll didn't cooperate. It could matter. The spike, if he can't remove it, if he doesn't have Claydol or something in the back, could absolutely be relevant here. And we've got something of a pseudo-mirror match. The teams don't look identical, but they look very similar, and we may be in for a grind here. If we've got Blissies and Suicunes and possibly Snorlaxes and stuff like that, with minimal spikes and no sand, it could be a grind for sure. And Snorlax for either player looks pretty threatening. Yes, Metagross can somewhat counter it, and obviously it can threaten it with Boom, but other than getting blown up on, a Snorlax here, which is a hypothetical for either one, since neither has actually shown that Mon, but a Snorlax for either player would actually be a pretty substantial threat given the current game state. So Gengar from Voyager, so there is something of a difference between these teams here, because, I mean, the teams are not identical. It's not going to be last Mag for Voyager, and it's not going to be last Skarm or Gar for Sprinkles. So they do bring very similar teams, but they're not identical here. And this team for Voyager, just by coincidence, I would imagine, I doubt they tested together, but this actually looks like the exact same team that in real time we just saw played in a pivotal match between Leo and Bad Dummy. But Sprinkles with a couple of key outplays here. Not only did he snipe the Skarm perfectly with a Magneton, perfect timing, but he also, that counter was well timed as well. So definitely it looks like Sprinkles is outplaying Voyager early on in the set here. This is just game one. But what could be a very lengthy, grindy game between bulky teams with no sand and only the one spike, it actually may not take as long as it potentially could have because of how well Sprinkles is sniping Voyager right now. But the teams are very similar, and like I said, it might be the identical team that we just saw in real time. I don't know the order that it's going to be up on YouTube, but it might be the identical team that we just saw from Leo in his match against Rick. If it were the case for Voyager, if that were the exact same team, I mean, you guys could probably logic out what you would think that the last poke would be in that situation. I think it is fairly self-explanatory, but for those of you who don't know, it would be a Claydol, hypothetically, if it were the same team. Not a ton of timer being used, more than 0, but for the most part, we're moving at a decent pace. As I say that, we come to a pause, but the handful of pauses that we have had have not been ridiculously long. Just, 15, 20 seconds there. No big deal. Here comes Bliss into an S-toss. Perfectly safe. Obviously going to click soft-boiled here, and there is nothing the opposing Bliss can do other than snatch, which she's not going to have, to stop it. Here comes Mence. Haven't seen that guy since the opener. And it's going to come in on a Calm Mind. Obviously, has to be careful of a potential Ice Beam. On this team, I think it's super duper unlikely that the Coon has Ice Beam. And indeed, it is a hidden power from what is clearly a CB Mence against what I assume is either a Rest Talk or a Roar Coon. But either of those make a lot more sense than an Ice Beam Coon would on this kind of team. The last poke for Voyager also could just be like Dugtrio or something, but I think that wouldn't be very good. Too much grounded spikes, vulnerable stuff. Yeah, it's got to just be dull, and in fact it is. And kind of weird that his switch into CBHP flying is Claydol. He really doesn't have anything at this point that actually resists HP flying, so every time the Mence comes in, it's going to be a threat. I'm surprised in that situation. Why didn't he just stay in and keep doing it? Why did the Coon scare him off? Sprinkles has played this game pretty well as a whole, but I think that one minor thing there was a mistake. I think he should have just kept at it. I guess he was getting a little paranoid about Ice Beam, but if you're good at reading teams and you understand what the team is and what it's trying to do, I think you can determine pretty easily that Ice Beam isn't going to be there. He really should just click HP Flying again. Any other play from Sprinkles here is a mistake. Then this lag is brutal, guys. I don't know if it's my computer or if it's Showdown or what, but I'm definitely after this game gonna hit the refresh button at very least and see if I can address that. But this is all but over. It might not be a 6-0, but it's done. Sprinkles is going to take game one here pretty convincingly, pretty one-sidedly, if I say so myself. Gengar here is a bit bulky. It's probably EV'd bulky. It's probably WoW Taunt or something to that effect. It usually is that on this team. So between that and the fact that there's no sand, it might take a minute to kill. And it is, in fact, double blob from Sprinkles. So at least I got that part of it right. It was not double blob for Voyager. But all that said, like I said, I really don't see a way out of this game for Voyager, especially now that we know that it's Last Poke Lax, which can absolutely beat the Coon one-on-one if it comes to it. A crit from Body Slam there is going to speed things up. And Voyager's not ready to concede, but he's not going to win this game. He's just not. Surf there just 24%. And Self-Destruct, it could have been interesting if Voyager had made the switch and managed to get the Self-Destruct into Gengar. But certainly now, with it just being Gengar against the world, we're done. And they might be a little bit ahead of us in real time. I see the GG, but clearly Sprinkles takes this one. I'm going to, I guess, let it play, but I'm going to try to refresh this and see if I could do something about the pretty clear visual lag that we're dealing with here. Not sure how much of it is my computer versus how much of it is Showdown. It very well might just be my computer. Like I said, 9 years old, doesn't handle Showdown very well anymore. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and check for Game 2. Looks like everyone's chatting, but Game 2 hasn't actually started yet. And here is a link to the second game, which, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and attempt to refresh, and hopefully that alleviates some of the lag. So here is the second game. Voyager is again going to be on the bottom for continuity. Sprinkles up a game, playing on the alt. Advanced Clicks is going to be on the top with a T-Tar. These are once again standard leads. Usually Meta has the edge and threatens the tower, though of course you can have weird stuff like counter, or the T-Tar can randomly be faster and have a fire attack or what have you. But most of the time, Meta has the edge in that matchup, and Voyager has 2 times in a row opted to bring Magneton against Sprinkles, which again, like I said in the first game, I think makes plenty of strategic sense, because when Sprinkles is bored or doesn't know what to bring, or just wants to default to something, he just brings that stupid Charizard, Aerodactyl, Scarm team. You might as well try to pick it off. He doesn't have Dugtrio, and this is not that team. He's got a Moltres here, so it is something different from his just, this is what I default to team. However, it is another Scarm team without Dugtrio, which I'm not faulting him for. I'm not a big Dugtrio guy myself. I think there's many viable Scarm teams that don't carry Doug. I think that's all well and good. But in this case, it is almost a free kill. He does manage to get 2 layers down because once again, Magneton, who is presumably holding Magnet, does not get the cooperative damage roll and does not manage to kill the Scarm in one go. So it is Voyager now with a physical offense very similar to what Sprinkles rolled up with last game, and unfortunately it seems that the lag has not gone away, so I'm not clear if it's just Showdown or my computer just sucks, or if I have to give it a reboot or what. Admittedly, my computer stays on for a fucking month at a time these days because it hosts Regis Philbin, and I don't really give it much of a break, so there is that. Maybe I should just kind of give it a day off and see if that helps. But we're not going to do that mid-match. Gonna have to work with it. And we have a Wish Rachi taking some EQs from Lax. A crit possibility is dangerous here, or a better roll. There you go. It must have been a non-protect Rachi, I guess. I guess it's Calm Mind 2 attacks Wish, because obvious, or just kidding, he did have protect, he just didn't use it. Okay, well I was going to say obviously if he had protect he would have gone for it there, but he did have protect and didn't do it, so that's a real head scratcher for Sprinkles. This one looking very opposite of what we had before. This one is not over by any means, but Voyager clearly ahead right now. Sprinkles kind of curb stomped him in that first game, but Voyager obviously ahead at this moment. And both the pokes that had been shown, the T-Tower and the Moltres, are both weak to water. So obviously Kuhn's just going to click Surf, and there's not a great answer to that. The best thing he can come up with is Gengar, which takes about a third. Perhaps it is a bulkier Gar in this instance. Will-O-Wisp plus Thunderbolt plus Spikes will manage to be good enough to kill the Lax, so maybe it's a little closer than I thought, but I still think I like Voyager's position here. And the Taunt is going to prevent DD, which I guess is insult to injury. And the Destiny Bond there is not going to work out, so that is a boo-boo on Sprinkles' end there. He tries to catch him with D-Bond, but he actually survives the hit at 3% and gets killed by the sand, which of course does not trigger D-Bond. Flygon gets in and gets the revenge kill, so it is a little closer. Flygon could be a threat here. It obviously threatens the meta, but just kidding, it is outsped and Ice Beam down by what has to be a reasonably fast Suicune here. Moltres should be able to revenge it, though, with HP Grass, and does. 2-2. Mence here, if it is Refresh, if it is faster than Moltres, or if it can dodge Will-O-Wisp, would all be winning plays. Interesting that he goes Dragon Dance into what could have just been a wow, but Roar works as well. And now Meta's staring down something that has a stab move that can cook it to a crisp. Does Voyager choke this late game? He went for DD there, but he knows that he's faster because he saw with the Sand who's faster. So it makes me think he either doesn't have Rock Slide or I guess he just doesn't have Rock Slide. I guess he could be Refreshments, but why wouldn't you Rock Slide there if you have it? DD in theory is the play that wins, but like there is such risk to going for the Dragon Dance there. It's going to be awkward now. Meta crucially survives at 1%. That had to have been a damage roll. Had it killed the Metagross there, I think it's very different. But now that it survives, it's easy for Voyager. He's faster, and all he has to do is click boom. But I think he got a bit lucky there. I think a lot of the time, the Moltres would just kill the Metagross, and it is a completely different situation. So I don't love the way that Voyager played that. I mean, I don't love the way Sprinkles played it either. That one was a little bit closer, but Voyager almost choked it at the end. But almost doesn't count in Mons, as we all know. The result is a Voyager victory, sending us to Game 3. So Sprinkles and Voyager one more time are going to have to determine who's going to be in the Aqua Bracket the Aqua Bracket Final, rather. And the opponent for that, let me just check it on my phone real quick, I believe is yet to be determined. No, it is determined. It's the winner of Leo and Bad Dummy, which already happened, and I'm not going to spoil who that is because this video very well may end up on YouTube ahead of that. But yeah, the winner here is going to face the winner, which we already know, of Leo and Bad Dummy. Pretty huge. So I'll go ahead and refresh again and try to help, but I think the issue is my computer. I have very, very good internet here. That is not the issue. And I don't really have this problem on sites other than Showdown, so I think it is simply a matter of my old computer that never gets turned off. Can't really handle Showdown all that well, I think. So here we go. Game 3. Winner here is through to the Aqua Bracket Finals, which of course if you win there, you just get to play in the main event, which is the ultimate goal here. Voyager and Sprinkles one more time. Mence on Mence. No memes, no nonsense. Standard viable leads. All 3 games from both dudes. And again, it's Sprinkles on the top. Wow. 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 That's the second time he insta-snipes a blind Skarm with a Magneton. He did it in Game 1, and he just did it again in Game 3. Voyager has got to be kicking himself. He cannot keep a Skarm alive against this guy. Sprinkles has busted out the Magneton twice, as has Voyager. There's a freeze as well. Disaster start in this Game 3 for Voyager. He's going to have to not do what he did last play-ins. Again, sadly, Game 1 didn't go his way. He went into clicker mode, he tilted, and he got blown out. If he wants to be in main event, if he feels like he deserves to be in main event, this game is not over. He needs to buckle down, focus, use the timer, don't tilt, and figure out a way back in. Losing Skarmory like that, really, really not what you want. The freeze there, obviously not what you want. Disaster start in the first half dozen turns here for Voyager. About as bad as it could realistically get. And he's going to have to dig out. Like I said, what I really want to see is Voyager using the timer, which is not the case here. It is Sprinkles using the timer. And yeah, and just trying to find a way back in. He very well may be steamy right now, and that will not work to his benefit in any way. Got to keep his head in it and got to figure out a way to come back. You have to recognize that this game is not over. It's still super early. There's a million things that can happen. You get crits, you get added effects, you get misses, whatever. Do what you need to do to give yourself a chance to get some of your own hacks and get the job done. Not that Sprinkles is here through hacks. The Ice Beam freeze is hacks, but the snipe on the Scarm is not. That is a skill play, and it's a play that he managed to do twice in this set, which perhaps is indicative of something that maybe Voyager is vulnerable to. It's very possible that Sprinkles scouted the gameplay tendencies of Voyager, and he tends to bring in Scarm at the same times in the same kind of matchups, and if Sprinkles did pick up on a pattern like that, he's able to time the Magneton to get it in at the right time, and, well, we saw the results. The one game that he did do that, he won. The second game that he's doing that, he's winning. And, the meta for Coon trade there is fine, but trading 1-for-1 when you're behind and you have a frozen poke is not generally a winning play, but you never know. And Sprinkles has opted to reuse the double blob team. It looks like the exact same team from game 1. He figures it worked before. Maybe it'll work again now. Voyager does undo some of those earlier hacks. He does thaw out here, which is crucial. So now there's nothing to complain about. The state of this game right now has nothing to do with hacks anymore. Sprinkles is up a poke simply from outplaying him, and I'm not sure why Voyager walked into that. It is the exact same counter from game 1. Yeah, Voyager's just tilted. It's as simple as that. There's absolutely no way that he would just ram his Salamence and then his Aerodactyl into a Blissey that he should know from game 1 has counter, and then if he somehow didn't know or somehow forgot, he saw the counter, and then he decided to put Aerodactyl into it anyway, only to get that killed by counter. Cannot possibly be the correct play. I think Voyager is just tilted, and this is what happens when people go on tilt. He is out of the tournament in just 26 turns. This is another one-sided game. No GGs, no nothing. He simply goes on tilt, starts playing recklessly, and loses. Sprinkles is going to be in the finals of the Aqua bracket. Can't tell you who it's against just yet, but we know what the matchup is going to be, and it's going to be a damn good one. It is two very strong players who both deserve to be in main event, but alas, there can only be one. And with that, there's just one more match left to play. The only one that we don't know the outcome of is CALLLOUS and Sadly Seus. Again, this will probably be up in YouTube before either of the others, just because I'm narrating it myself and then immediately uploading rather than waiting on another person. But the finals are going to be the already determined winner of Leo and Bad Dummy against Sprinkles, and then the undetermined winner of CALLLOUS and Sadly Seus against Lax in the other bracket. Heating up to be a really, really good play-in. It's been entertaining so far. I hope you guys have been enjoying it as well. This was not the prettiest Game 3. Like I said, I think Voyager simply went on tilt and was unable to recover. It seems to be a weakness in his game. He gets steamy, he starts clicking, and it's all downhill from there. There's no way that attacking that many times into something that he knew or should have known has counter is the optimal play. I think his emotions took over, and this is the result. Sprinkles the winner, 2-1. Appreciate you guys watching. Gotta throw it out real quick. Please consider donating to support the tournament. All the money that you donate, minus the very small amount that PayPal takes, goes directly into the prize pool, and it supports the players. I'm not keeping any of it. I'm not making money in any way by running this tournament. My goal is solely to make this the biggest CALLLOUS Invitational ever. It is the last one. The prize pool from last year was about 2,600. It was just shy of that. So the target number that I'd really like to hit is $2,600. If we hit $3,000, I'd be elated. But let's really, really try to beat last year and go out on a high note. Can we get to 2,600? We're at about 900 now. We're doing good. Long ways to go. If you're able to contribute, all the information that you need is in my Discord server in the donation section. It's very quick. It's via donation link. It's safe. It doesn't take very long. Please consider helping out if you have the means to do so. All right, that's it. Appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.